Good morning, everyone. This is Raymon Howington with CRM Evangelist, and we're pleased to present and host this morning's webinar, CRM Success at McElroy Manufacturing.
There was a time, as Ray mentioned, before the term customer relationship management was even coined, when there were just a few people who were in the business of exploring best practices and ferreting out the best products to help organizations apply technology to their day-to-day sales and marketing efforts. And Ray was one of those people. He was at the forefront back then, and we've known each other for all of the intervening years, and his commitment to customers is the same as it ever was, but he's dealing with a whole different range of technologies that I think brings the original vision of customer relationship management a lot closer to reality. And that brings us to Paul Brodsky. Talking to Paul over the last few weeks and learning about his perspective and his insight into this whole business of getting a customer relationship management project up and running has been fascinating and instructive to me. Paul has been in marketing leadership for over 20 years. He works for McElroy Manufacturing.
They had already had Goldmine in-house, but it was not being used at all. So part of my job in the beginning was to implement a new customer database, is all they referred to it at the time. FinTube is still a big part of our business. Fusion is certainly the majority of our business. We're considered a leader in the industry, both in quality and in terms of depth of product. We cover the product line better than anybody, and we're very much international. We have offices in Chile, Brazil, the United Kingdom, Australia, and we have distributors throughout the United States, Canada, and in other parts of the world.
So now here you are with an ostensible CRM solution that is underutilized, to say the least, and there's a need to move on and find something that is a little more robust. So could you walk us through what you are thinking as you prepare for this project? There are a lot of stakeholders in any CRM initiative. How do you get everybody on board?
You know, that's always the challenge with any of these, and especially when you've got a fairly sizable organization. I mean, ours is not. We've just got a couple of key groups, but to try to get them to, customer service and tech support and sales and marketing and then executive management to all work together can be a challenge. Quite frankly, a lot of what I did was just looked for whatever those key factors were within each area. And from what I knew about the company and what I knew about CRM, it was to use an old term, what's the killer app, so to speak? What's the one thing that they would really like?
I see that quite often, the departmental approach where an organization or a department has a need to capture customer information, and they'll go off and make some decisions around capturing that with a CRM without really getting the other parts of the organization together, because maybe it's easier, right? They don't have to worry about, they have to go outside their chain of control or cross boundaries. And what happens is you end up sabotaging the purpose of CRM altogether, being, one unified method of capturing and viewing customer information across the organization, because when you make those decisions unilaterally, you create resentment with other parts of the organization, or you don't have full adoption to embrace, the solution. And one suggestion that I would have, that Paul employed as well in his strategy, is the use of vendors, both the software and consultants, to support his vision and begin to also place some seeds of change within the organization. And Paul has used those resources in a laser focus, and partnered with those resources, to accomplish those means.
one of the key things really that to any kind of CRM project is you need to have rapid results. And sometimes those can be very small things, but people need to be able to see progress. And CRM is an investment, and a lot of companies sometimes think they can just go buy some off-the-shelf software and they're ready to go. And we had gotten past the point that, okay, the company understood this is going to be an investment, it's going to take some time, but any executive manager always wants to see, so how fast can you get this up and running? So we kind of knew right away that the best way to do that would be to bring in a consultant. One of the things that always makes me the most nervous at the beginning of any CRM project is not knowing what I don't know. And where Ray was and his group was instrumental was in providing some longer-term vision to some solutions, things that maybe weren't apparent to me because I didn't understand the application fully yet. And rather than me take the chance of a year from now going, oh, whoops, I wish I had known that, they were able to help us get us up and running in really short order, showing some early successes. Once people start to see early successes without it being overly painful, then they're more apt to adopt and get excited about it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the selection process. There are a number of vendors out there. You had a checklist of things that you wanted to address. What vendors did you wind up looking at?
There were a couple of really key things for us. One of them was I wanted it cloud-based. I wanted, because of our international presence, I did not want to have to worry about server issues. I didn't want to have to worry about synchronization issues. I didn't want to have to worry about, some of our guys are not always in parts of the world where they have great internet access to be able to synchronize or to VPN back to our servers or something like that. So I wanted it, that was one. The other one was, because we already have so many existing systems through our ERP and through our website, I wanted something that would easily integrate with our existing systems. And sometimes that's key to a CRM implementation. You want to, people are comfortable with what they have, and you don't want them to feel like it's going to go away. So those two things were kind of really big, easy access and easy integration. And then from there, it kind of fell out to just the normal things. Is it easy to use? Does it make sense? Can I customize it for what I want it to be, and that type of thing. It was very clear that Salesforce was absolutely going to be the way to go, for us to do what we wanted to do.
Sure. Now, so you make the decision, and I'm assuming you put together an agreement with Salesforce, so you are now a Salesforce customer, you're a Salesforce user, the proud owner of a Salesforce implementation. Now what? What happens now?
Yeah, this is where you panic now. So now I actually have to do it. So actually, we had actually even before we signed on with Salesforce, we had already spoken with Ray extensively. In fact, Ray came up when Salesforce came and did their presentation to our executive management team. Ray was invited along as well to provide another perspective. So we kind of had our project plan kind of laid out. Ray and his team came up, spent a couple of days up here, and we had, I don't know, probably like 8 or 10 meetings, kind of meeting with each one of the different stakeholder groups, getting their input and their feedback to either confirm the needs that we had already identified and to add needs to that.
Having acquired the system, that's not the end of the road. That's not the period at the end of the sentence. There is still stuff that urgently needs to be done.
I'm going to steal a comment that Paul said to me not too long ago that I like quite a bit. Paul, you said, just because you have a hammer and a nail doesn't mean that you have a house. And with Salesforce, once you get the admin credentials, you still have no data in the system where salespeople are going to access their accounts. There's no security model or no process support that's specific to your business, not relevant to your industry terms and how you want to view customers and distributors. And so those are the things that need to be addressed in just about any implementation. but particularly for manufacturing, I found 9 things that are similar across all manufacturers, and I can address them now. And they were also.
Yeah, let's take a look at those.
The first is, are you a discrete manufacturer of products and goods, or are you a process manufacturer? And also creating a understanding the demand for that product over the given year, or a lot of times they're called budget forecasts. Are the orders reflective of what you've forecasted at the beginning of the year? And if you aggregate that across all customers or the territory, it becomes difficult to do. You can do that with CRM, but you have to look at opportunity management in a different sense. Having manufacturers, reps, and distribution channels are quite common. Is the customer master and the need to synchronize that. If it's an ERP, how do you reflect that quoting history in your CRM so you know that you've quoted a customer previously and that you can roll up the quotes into forecasts? Also, for marketing purposes, it's good to know who your install base is, and particularly if you sell through distribution channels, a lot of times you don't know that. You maximize cross-selling opportunities.
One thing that you kind of talked on, and to kind of give an example of one of our drivers was, if you look at those 2 boxes where you've got product registration and then service, we had been doing product registration previously. That was part of how we were able to collect end user information. But part of where the disconnect is in my Goldmine database, I had all the product registration information, but our customer service people did not have access to that, or our tech support people didn't have access to that as well. So one of our initial goals, and kind of, quite frankly, a little bit of a carrot, was, hey, by implementing the system, we'll have much better insight, and we're already really in a very short time, we're in a situation now where when we get a tech support call, our techs are able to pull it up by serial number, see who owns the machine, maybe take the opportunity to get some updated information from the person they're talking to. People realize, oh, wow, we can really pull some stuff together and even really go that next level. What we effectively needed to do was establish 3 complete separate implementations of Salesforce that were all distinct and were all customized for that particular group. Some of the areas that were, quite frankly, very excited about CRM in the beginning and really are still very excited about it, but it's difficult for them to create new habits. In a lot of ways, sometimes we're talking some culture change here. People kind of have to learn new things and think about things differently.